What's going on, guys? Back in another video. I told you I'd give y'all one video a week, so I'm trying my hardest to do it. So basically today our video is going to be about why you should own a 3-valve in 2022, and it sounds crazy, but we're going to get to all the topics and the reasons that I have one in 2022 and why I still own one in 2022 when all these newer engines have came out in these Mustangs. So let's get to it. So I'm in the car now, and my first reason for owning a 3-valve in 2022 is the price range. So with the price being, I paid somewhere around $7,000 to $9,000 for this car in 2022. The prices have gone up just because of the car market, but there is, if you find the right one and you wait a little bit, you can get one for a very good deal. And I say typically these right now in the market today, the price of these cars go between $7,000 and $13,000. And $13,000 is if you find one find one with low mileage, has no accident reported, it's been taken care of its whole life, has again has low mileage. And it's sad, but a lot of guys that have a 2005 to 09 think that if their car has 90,000 miles, they think it's worth $15,000. And they're selling the car, they can sell it however they want to, they can put the price that they want to, but that being said, it's still a 15-year-old car. So you have to, if you're gonna sell it, just remember between those, if you want one with 120,000 miles like I did, you can get them under 10,000, under 9,000, whatever you need to do. They're selling the car, so it's up to them if they want to sell the car for that price or not. And going back to pricing, that all depends in your area, where you're from, if you're in the northern states, if you're in the southern states, or you're in the northern states and you want to buy one that's rust-free in the south. And I'll tell you right now, anything that you buy right now at this age where this car is at, it's not going to be rust-free or ding-free, or the paint's going to be perfect unless this person kept it in the garage religiously and didn't drive it through the winter or daily drive it. Unfortunately, this is my daily driver, so I can't keep it in the garage during the winter time. It's a car, it's meant to be driven. And typically if you get a car with low mileage and it's 15 years old and only has 20,000 miles, you might have more problems than a car with 100,000 miles or 120,000 miles on, just because it was driven and whatever was wrong with it was fixed on it. So you have a car sitting in a showroom and it's not heated or air conditioned and it's not turned on daily, something's going to go wrong. That motor's going to seize up, or the transmission's going to mess up, or anything. It can even go to the tires. If you leave the tires on for 15 years and you just don't drive it, they're going to be dry cracked just from sitting. But that is one of the topics. The first topic that I'm talking about is just the price value. You can get these for a fairly great deal for being a Mustang GT with a 5-speed if you want it. And even if you want to start, this is the platform I started with cars. So I had a blue V6 Mustang, which is in my other videos, and I bought that car in 2018 or 2017, and I paid $7,000 with 84,000 miles on it. And it was a fairly clean car. It didn't have the premium package, but it had the my color on your dash and everything. And it was a nice car for at the time, and it got me into cars. And at the time I thought it was a fast car. In today's standards, that is a really slow car, but it is a great car to start at. They're very reliable. I never had any issues with it other than the thermostat housing blowing up on me, which is common. But we're going to go to our next topic now. That you want a Mustang and you're looking for prices, don't go cheap and don't hurry up and rush and buy one. These cars are a dime a dozen. You can find them anywhere. And I've gotten to a point where whenever I was buying this car, there was none for sale around my area. They were probably 30, 40 or 50 minutes away from me, but they were high mileage, they were beat up, and that's just not what I wanted. And I almost rushed into buying one that had 190,000 miles on it for a good deal, but it's something I look at. I'm gonna daily drive it. I want to make sure it's in good condition. I want to make sure it drives good, and I don't want to waste my money on something that I can't resell and make money on if I did have to sell it. So with buying these cars, the only problems I'll ever see having on these engines is if you buy an 07 below and they have, everybody knows it if you're looking for a 3-valve. If you're looking for a 3-valve, you know that the spark plugs and 08 and below, I think it was 07 and a half, but 08 and below, the spark plugs are 2-piece design and they get stuck in the heads. And I had that on one of my Mustangs, and it was on my green Mustang. Luckily, the guy that sold it before me took them all out, but it took him 3 days to take all those spark plugs out by hand. And at that point, it's just take it to a shop and get it fixed. But if you get a Mustang or an 08 below, you get to your house and it's missing, well, you're just going to change the spark plugs. I've had LS engines and trucks. You just take the spark plugs out, put new ones in, and it starts running fine. This one, you break a spark plug off and the ceramic falls in the head, you're screwed. You have to take the whole engine block apart. You either have to take the whole engine apart or take it to a shop, and that's pretty much all you can do to fix that. There's no other way. People say you can run them with a little piece in there, but I do not trust that. Your cylinders are pushing against the top of your head, so it grabs the ceramic and it might pull it down on the side of the cylinder, and it just messes up your whole engine. You're screwed. But that's one thing to look at, is the spark plug issue. And for me, the Mustangs that I bought, since I bought that green one, I only look up 08 and above just because of that problem. And it's a simple easy install. If the spark plugs were changed every 50,000 miles, you can get away with changing them again and getting the 1-piece spark plug design, because they did change it. So you don't have to go buy factory two-piece spark plugs again. So there's not really you can change it, but for my sake, if I'm buying a car with 120,000 miles on it, the owner before me, unless they were really religious about fixing things, they aren't going to change. My next reason on why you should own an 05 to 10 GT3 valve, and this might just be for the 05 to 09, but the styling of the car. You can't do any better. They brought back the old classic look. My favorite Mustang is like a 67 through 70 fastback, and then they had the 70 Boss, which was my absolute favorite Mustang. But they brought back the old school styling, and it's not just the outside. They brought it everywhere, in the inside. Even when you bought the California Specials, they came stock with the 18 bullet Mustang wheels. And this one is a special package, and they it's a generation. This is the first, or mine's the second, but they made them in 2007. This is like the first generation back of the California Special when they made them in the 60s, and it was just a package basically to look like a GT500, but it was just an appearance package. And this is what this car is. It's just an appearance package. You get the hood scoop, you get the bumper with the huge lip on the California Special, you get the California Special lettering, you get the painted side skirts, which comes on every premium Mustang GT. You get the side scoops, those are aftermarket, the louvers, and then you get the GT500 rear bumper. And my favorite part is you get the California Special. Mine's a little scratched up, but you get the California Special GT emblem on there. It kind of puts a showing that you own it. I mean, obviously on the side it says GTCS, but in the car you get this is the only color that comes in this. I wish it came all black, because I'm a fan of the all black, but I like it. It's charcoal gray with the black, and then you got the charcoal gray insert inside the black seat. And my favorite part is the dash, because you have all, it's like faux carbon fiber, but it still looks cool. And then it's optioned out, obviously. So if I didn't have this aftermarket radio, I'd have the Shaker 1000 radio, which has satellite radio and aux and everything back in 2008. You have the heated seats, and then you have your My Color option. And then this car came with the color for the bottom, so you can change all the colors, like where your feet are, and then the cup holders. And that is one reason why I do like this car. It's my favorite body style. 05 through 09. I think they peaked at that moment, and then when they went to I think the second body style that's my favorite is 1314, which is the Coyote. But this honestly is my favorite body style. It's retro, but it hasn't aged that bad. You know, I say this is a 14-year-old car, but it hasn't aged as bad as you would think a car from 2008 that was made by Ford. You know, but they did make everything everything plastic, but it is a reliable car, and this is my favorite body style of any Mustang. Everybody always wants to hate on the 3-valve, but you know, there is some hate to it. But you got to think that the Mustang was the only pony car that outlived every car. You know, Charger didn't start up back until 2000. I want to say 2010 or 2009. They didn't start back up till 2009, 2010. Challengers didn't come back till 2009. I want to say, I have to research that. And then, you know, Chargers didn't come back till the same time. And that goes to show you that, you know, yes, it does have 300 horsepower. Yes, it has 320 foot-pounds of torque. Yes, that's low to the standards today, considering that a 2011 5.0 makes 340, 350 horsepower to the wheels, and maybe like 370 foot-pounds to the wheels. They say 400, but it's it's up to the flywheel. It's not wheel horsepower. This car probably makes like 270 to the wheels and like 300 torque, but to have that much torque back in 2008, and the car, it's not heavy. It's not as heavy as any other car. I think it weighs like 3,700 pounds, so it's not a huge heavy car. And if you do want to make Coyote power, I say it's not hard, but you can always put a centrifugal supercharger on it, like a Vortec or a Paxton, or you can put there's tons of superchargers at the top. They have an Edelbrock. You can get the Salines if you're lucky from the Saline Mustang. I think you can even get adapter plates and put a GT500 supercharger on it. So it's very easy to modify, and if you want to go the turbo route, they do have twin turbo Halion kit. And the only thing about a lot of these kits is if your motor's not built and you want to push more horsepower, you really can't. That's the downside of the motor, is the compression is a little lower than a 5.0, and it's not by a significant amount, but you can make 500 horsepower in a Coyote with full bolt-ons, and full bolt-ons on a Mustang GT this year, you're only making probably 320 horsepower, 330, and that's peaking it, 350 torque. That's about as good as you're going to get full bolt-ons. And even I think running E85, I don't even think you can get past 350 horsepower. So yes, the 5.0 is the better engine, but you got to think, a Coyote cost upwards of, the lowest I've seen them with 120,000 miles is like $15,000 to $16,000. So you're looking at, if you want to get a low mileage, so that's like a 13 to 14 or even up, to a 15, you're going to be spending like $28,000 with maybe 60,000 miles on it. So it's still a steep price. So you would pay $10,000 to $15,000 more than what this car is worth for an extra 100 horsepower. And it sounds kind of funny, but yeah, if you are wanting to get the faster car, go for the Coyote. I'm not going to stop you. If I had the money, I'd buy it too. But today we're talking about why the 3-valve is great. It sounds great. You put Ford Performance cams in it. It sounds great. The cams are so easy to get to. They're overhead cams, so they're just right there. You take the intake manifold, you take the valve covers off. You get a special tool to hold the timing chain, put the cams in there, and they all require a tune, so you have to get a tune on the car. But what I love about this car is the sound, and that's the next topic we're going to get to. The fourth reason that you should own a 3-valve is the sound. So y'all heard that? It sounds freaking great for a 300 horsepower motor with like 320 foot-pounds of torque, and all I have is a muffler delete on it. You know, with that being said, I have, you know, 3-inch pipe all the way back, aftermarket, but I have just an aftermarket muffler delete off American Muscle for $100, and it sounds like that. It has the pops and crackles. When I downshift, it sounds great, you know, driving under a tunnel. And you can even buy, and if they're still available, just because of all the California laws right now, but if you can buy off-road X-Pipe, it sounds great. I had it on my other GT, and it's ridiculously loud, but if that's what you're going for, then, you know, $100, $150 for an off-road X-Pipe. And to the last topic we're going to go to, we're going to talk about, you know, the aftermarket support. So on to the aftermarket support. There is so much, you know, aftermarket support for this car. You know, you have American Muscle, LMR, late model, or that is LMR, but you know, those are just two off the top of my head, and there's so many more. You know, you have Jegs Performance, which sells stuff for Mustang. You have CJ Pony Parts, Texas Speed, they sell cams and stuff for the car. So that is one thing about the Mustang. Whenever you're buying a Mustang, you know, it's going to be hard once you start modifying it. And I have a problem with this, and you just want to buy things for it and buy things for it. And it doesn't even have to be something performance-wise. You can buy a side skirts, a spoiler, a hood. I think they sell mirror covers, gas caps, different grills. I think they have like 10 or 15 different types of grills on American Muscle just for this car. And just the aftermarket support in itself, you know, is the reason why you should buy this. You know, I don't think Corvettes or Camaros might have a little bit, but Corvettes and I'm trying to think of another, like Challengers and Chargers, they don't have as much aftermarket support as a Mustang does. And I could be wrong about that, but just everything that I've seen and everybody that's talked in the video, you know, everything that I've researched, these Mustangs, just any Mustang in general, it doesn't even have to be an 05 to 09, they have so much aftermarket support. It's like, it seems like every time like a new Mustang comes out, American Muscle loads the whole website with new parts that you didn't even think they would have. And it's like they research before they, you know, put this part on there, and you know you're buying a quality part. You know, you don't have to go on eBay, which you can, they sell parts on there too. That's where I got my spoiler from, and I'm going to make a video on that just to show the quality of it. But yeah, that is in itself, when you buy this car, it's going to be hard for you not to buy parts for the car. It's very, very addicting, and you know, any car person will say that buying parts for your car is the funnest thing ever. So I realize I'm getting a little shaky in my videos. I need to get like a tripod or something if I'm going to start, because I'm going to be making one video a week. So I'm going to do one bonus topic in this video, just because I think it fits this. But you know, we're talking about 3-valve Mustangs right now, but you know, an 05 to 09 Mustang, you can put in the V6 Mustang. And the only reason I'm saying that is because that's what got me into all these Mustangs and the car community, and actually where I'm at now, you know, loving cars and being able to modify them by myself. You know, it taught me a lot. And the 06 Mustang V6 that I had was honestly like an eye-opener for me into the car world. And it sounds funny now, but you know, that car was slow. It was slow, and it didn't look the greatest. You know, I did my own stuff on it, I learned on it, and it just got me into the car community. So if you're wanting to get into the car community and you're young, you're 16, you're 17 years old, and you never had a car before, you know, you get that Mustang V6, and yeah, you'll have some people that talk crap about you, about why'd you buy this, why'd you buy a V6, why don't you just buy the GT. You know, the only reason I couldn't buy a GT at that time is the insurance wise. You know, I paid for my own insurance, and I bought the car cash by myself, but I couldn't afford $300 payment for insurance when I was 18 years old. It was just, you know, not suitable for me. So I bought the V6, and it was I think it was $100 cheaper than the GT insurance. And I just waited, you know, till I got a little older and I could afford it, and I could get what I wanted, and I can, you know, pay the insurance for it. You know, now I'm 26 years old. I'm, you know, paying I'm not gonna say my business on here, but I'm paying like 20 bucks a month for this car to be on full coverage. So, you know, it's been a long time coming. But if you are considering buying an 05 to 09 Mustang and you don't know anything about cars yet, you know, don't stop looking at a V6 Mustang just because it's a V6. You know, you can make that car your own, and that's what started me. You know, I learned how to put lowering springs on that car. I learned how to change my own oil. I never knew how to change oil, and I tested on that car. I did get it all over the driveway, but I learned, and now I can change my oil on any car that I've owned, and I do it myself because it is cheaper. And you know, there's been times where on these cars it's different than a truck. You know, when you're lifting it with a jack, you have to lift on a pinch weld. I didn't know that when I was 19 years old. I had nothing, nobody's taught me about cars, and I lifted it from the floor pan, which is funny because I dented it and I cracked one of the seals, and I had to go to the AutoZone, tell them what I did, and they gave me some body filler. I filled the crack up and dented it back out. But that just goes to show you, you know, you can learn stuff on these cars. I only bought that car for 7,400 bucks, 7,000, something like, I think it was 7,400. But I paid $7,400 for this car, and you know, it was an older car, so I wasn't afraid of doing stuff on it. Yeah, if it was a newer car, I wouldn't do all that. I wouldn't try to modify it, but with it being my first car and me wanting to get into the car community, I thought I had to, and it's helped me a lot. You know, I've learned everything from that car. So that goes to show you, you know, I didn't start from this. I didn't buy a GT. I didn't have a manual. I didn't even know how to drive a manual when I bought that blue car. And it got me interested in the car world. And now I'm here with my 2008 GTCS with the manual, what I've wanted since I bought my blue car. And I'm just telling y'all that it doesn't have to be a V8 for your first car. It doesn't even have to be a Mustang. But with that being said, that's all my topics for this video. So that's the end of my video. If you want to like and subscribe to the video, or subscribe to my channel, I really appreciate it. I'm gonna have a video next week. I'm going to Gatlinburg for Christmas, and I guess we're gonna make a vlog for that week, me and my wife. So it's gonna be fun taking my almost 3-year-old son out there, and yeah, I'll just record my adventure out there. I think it's supposed to snow when we go out there. We aren't taking the Mustang, we're taking her car, so you know, we'll be good there. But yeah, I'll catch you on the flip side. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe. Comment what you think about this video. If you have opinions on it, comment on there too. I want to hear your opinions. I want to hear your comments. So thanks, guys.